Hello, this is Lab 3, arc consistency in relation to constraint satisfaction problems for Comp 380. First question asks, what does it mean for an arc to be consistent? For this, let's imagine we have two nodes, node X and node Y. The arc between these two nodes will be consistent if for every value in the domain of X, there exists a value in the domain of Y that will satisfy the constraint between the two nodes. And the opposite is true. So if for every value in the domain of Y, there exists a value in the domain of X, that will satisfy that constraint. And a network is consistent when all arcs in the network are consistent. Lastly, the three possible outcomes are either every node having one value, which will result in a unique solution. So those values are a unique solution to the problem. One or more nodes have no values in their domain, which means that there is no solution, or one or more nodes have multiple values in their domain. That means that arc consistency is inconclusive. There may be no solutions, there may be multiple solutions. For part 2, part D asks, if we were to run arc consistency on this graph, would the domain of the nodes change? And it will not change. Essentially, for each value in all of the nodes, you can find a value in another node that will satisfy the constraint, right? So if A is true, C can be false, B can be false. If A is false, C can be true, B can be true, right? And it's the same for every node. So none of the domains will be reduced after running arc consistency. Question E asks, if arc consistency finishes and there are multiple values, is there guaranteed to be a solution? There is not guaranteed to be a solution, and this graph is actually a good example of that. So like we mentioned earlier, if you run arc consistency, nothing will change, right? So all of these nodes will have two values. However, if you look at the graph, if A is true, then B will have to be false due to this constraint, and then C will not be able to satisfy both of these constraints at the same time. And that is how it works. Essentially, if you have multiple values, there is a chance that each of those values satisfies some constraints, but no value satisfies all constraints, and thus no value can be part of the solution. And for part F, the last part, we are asked to recreate this graph in AI space and run arc consistency on it. So here I've recreated this. These custom ones are just an inequality or an XOR. And then if we run solve on it, you can see that it's going to check all the arcs, and all the arcs are consistent. None of the domains have been reduced, so the prediction is correct. Thank you.